Relationship triggers invite us to heal old wounds. I want to tell you about a story from over 30 years ago when I first put together couples therapy and body-centered therapy. A couple came in because the husband unexpectedly, which he had never done before, just reached out and slapped his wife. And they were both horrified about this. After we did some safety work, I asked what happened from each of their perspectives, and I wanted to hear what it was like for each of them and what they wanted. And so I found out briefly that he was an electrician and she was a stay-at-home mom, and he had a terrible accident and they had a young baby, so he had to take care of the baby and she had to go out and work. And he was one day trying to change a diaper, which he was doing clumsily. And she walked in and she thought playfully, she said, "That's a stupid way to do that." And she thought she was being playful. And he actually went and slugged her. And so they were both obviously taken aback. So I asked each of them to drop into the experience and to see what happened. And he dropped in and he said basically the problem was that she had called him stupid, which she hadn't actually called him stupid. She had said, "That's a stupid way of doing that." So I had him drop into the sensation of stupid and let it speak. And I asked it what it was like and what it wanted. And he could feel it in his body. And he said, "All I wanted was for her to say, 'I see how hard you're trying and I really appreciate it,'" which she was able to do. And then I asked her what it was like from her side and what she wanted. And she thought she was being playful about saying, "Oh, that's a stupid way of doing it." And all she wanted was sort of like to have him sort of play back with her and ask for help and accept her help. I said, "Great." And he was able to do that. So then I said, "Now let's forget each other and let's find those sensations again." And we started with him, and I asked him to find stupid in his body, and he focused on the sensation of stupid, and he started to cry. And the wife was, I think, was shocked. She said later, I'd never seen him cry in all the time we've been together, which was quite a while. And he said, as the sensation, I was speaking to the sensation, and the sensation basically said, "I'm about an 11-year-old boy and I'm trying to help my father." And he was a manual laborer and he was doing some work with some other people, and he was trying to help his father shovel some gravel, and the shovel was too big for him. And he overheard his father saying, "Look at my stupid kid. He can't even shovel right." And he's crying. And so I said, "Well, what did you want?" And he says, the sensation is saying, "All I wanted was my father to just say, 'Thank you so much for helping. And I can see how difficult this is for you. And I'm just so appreciative. I'm just so grateful that you're helping me.'" And so I said to the wife, "Well, can you stand in for father and then we can unroll you?" And she then says to him exactly the way he wanted to hear it. "I see how hard you're trying to help me, and I'm so grateful. And, I can even show you how to do it better if you like." And she said all that to him, and they were hugging, and he felt complete. And then I said, "All right, now let's go to your side." I said to the wife, and the wife basically said, I said, "Try to find what it was like for you where you were trying to help." And somebody basically said, like, "I'm not interested," in a very powerful way. And she felt that in her body. And immediately a scene came to her where she was about 9 years old. And she was there with her mother who was putting some drapes up. And she said, "My mother wasn't very good at this stuff. And I thought I knew how to do this way better." And I said to my mother, "Let me help you with this." And she basically said, "I like, go out and play." And she realized she was dropping into the sensation. She said, "All I want to do is help my mother." And then she said, "I thought actually the way she was doing it was kind of stupid. And I was like angry and I thought I could do it better. And she wouldn't even, accept anything from me." And she was at this point gently crying. And so I said, "Well, what did you need from your mom?" And she said, "All I needed was my mom to say, 'Of course, like, let's do this together and show me what your idea is.'" And she said, "All I wanted to do was to do that." And she realized, she was just angry and hurt. And so I said, "Well, what did you need?" And she told us what she needed, focusing on the sensation. So I had him talk with her as sensation and be mom and say, "Thank you so much for your help. And, I really, really can do this much better with you. And of course, I would love to do it together." And he's saying that to her and she's crying. So this was the first time I had really put together couples work and sort of grudges that they had with each other with the somatic work. And it was really glorious. So you can see that our triggers in current relationship really invite us to remember and heal what was unfinished that we always try to heal with our partners. That's why we get married. We think we get married just for love, but clearly we also get married in order to heal and grow. So if you're interested in this kind of work and putting together sort of like relational work with somatic work in a way that's deeply powerful and allows you not to be in a place where you're struggling with each other, but really opening to each other and opening to yourself, please feel free to come and check us out at lifecenteredtherapy.com. We do couples work and we teach about how to do couples work and we teach about relationships. And of course, we would love to have you there. And if you want couples work, we can do it anywhere. Just hit on lifecenteredtherapy.com, book a consultation. Thank you so much.